Megan. Welcome to the Dream World podcast. I love when people like find me through the internet and are like, I love your podcast. I want to, you know, talk about my dreams and my story and my art. So that's really cool that, that you're here. How did you get started with like the journey of vivid dreams?
Thank you again for having me on the show. I'm really excited to be here. And For me, ever since childhood, I had very vivid dreams, and I just found them very fascinating. And they always felt very important to me. I didn't know exactly why. And I think that they have always influenced my creativity. Pretty much, I've always just loved recording my dreams. My family also seems to have the same kind of thing because my mom dreams very vividly, and one of my brothers as well. So I just always wanted to research more about it. And then when I was in high school, I was really focusing on art. And I actually did a project where I painted some elements from my dreams, and then like I wrote an essay on it. And that was kind of, I guess, where it really started for me, this whole combination of like art and dreams.
That's awesome. What's your process like of like taking something from your dream and like creating it in like waking life? How do you represent something so, dreamy?
It's a challenge, but I love it. Like, I guess back then, what I started doing was really, if I had a scene in my head from my dream, I would really paint the scene. And I actually have some of my high school paintings I can share, just so you guys could see if you're interested. Um, and Pretty much that was a lot of it, and also symbols. So, like, I get a lot of symbols in my dreams, and they seem to stand out as being really important. So sometimes now, especially, I'll just combine different symbols from dreams or like my imagination and all sorts of inspiration that comes together. And it kind of creates this surreal world that captures the feeling of my dreams.
I love that. I'd love to see one of them if you wanna share, like, a dream that went with it or, one
Sure.
of your
Well,
favorites.
I have kind of a crazy story if you're interested,
Yeah.
for dreams. So, my most intense dream that I remember, I'm sure I've had a lot, but one of them was when I was in high school. So, back when this process was kind of getting started for me, I had this dream that actually I died in the dream, and my body floated out, and I could see myself. And it was like this euphoric feeling, like I felt euphoria. And I just thought it was so crazy because most people, if they die in their dream, they wake up. So it was kind of like I continued. And It was this whole dream, and it was really fascinating. Like, I was able to like try to contact the people who knew me, and they were kind of like feeling my vibe, and it was a very strange thing. And then I remember there was this scene of like me floating in the ocean, and like this theater, like theater curtains. And So one of the paintings I did when I was in high school, so this was like the little painting. So this is back from when I was like, yeah, like, I don't know, a teenager. And you can see like the curtains and like my body floating up, and then this like sea of all of like the different theater elements. So that's kind of an example of a more literal translation. And A lot of these elements have stayed with me throughout my life because now I'll show you. This is a more recent painting. It's a print of it that I did. And you can see it still has the same elements. So it's like the theater and the ocean, but I kind of changed it up. So it's been really fun to explore all these different symbols.
That's really cool. Wow, you're really talented. I love those paintings.
Oh,
What type of paint or, like, mediums do you use?
well, thank you so much. I currently use oil paint, and I use a water mixable oil paint, which is great because it's less toxic and you can just clean it up with water. So it's easy, but it has like a really nice, like, you can get really smooth finishes that kind of feel more surreal and dreamlike. So I prefer that to acrylic, but I still do some acrylic paintings as well. So it's been a fun process, and I want to start doing more sculpture again because I did some sculpture when I was younger, and that was really fun.
That's awesome. I love the concept of, like, dying in your dreams. I think it's really cool, and I know kinda creepy, but I've also had
Yeah.
similar ones where it's, like, peaceful. I'm, like, happy and
Yeah.
at peace, and I'm mostly sad for, like, my family and stuff, but not,
Yeah.
like, for myself. So it's really cool. It's given me that, like, release of, like, being scared of dying.
Yeah, me too. I feel like right now, kind of my philosophy is almost like this is a dream that we're living, like one dream, and we're going to wake up into this other realm. And I kind of feel like that dream world feels like that to me. So I love dreaming. I love sleeping. It's just always been just such a great kind of escape for me. That's like, I guess, a healthy escape.
Yeah, same here, I love that. Are you a lucid dreamer at all? Like, how often are you lucid?
So that's what I wanted to talk to you about as well and get your advice because I don't know if I've ever fully lucid dreamed. Pretty much what would happen is as soon as I realize it's a dream, I wake myself up and I can't stop doing that. So I was wondering if you have any advice for how to get over that part of it.
Yeah, that's so common. I mean, it is still a lucid dream, even if it's a short one. But let me ask you this, like, what's the process like? Like, what leads you to realize it's a dream? And like, does it just get weaker and fade away? Or do you consciously decide, like, okay, let me end this and wake up?
I think it's I think it's like something will happen in the dream that all of a sudden my brain's like, wait a minute, like this isn't real. And then that'll wake me up. But like, it's weird because part of me really wants to lucid dream because it sounds so incredible. But then part of me, I think it likes the like fantasy. Like, it's like my brain likes to pretend that I'm in that world and that it's real. So maybe that's why it's waking me up. But I really want to get to that point where I can stay in the dream and manipulate things. So,
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think you can. It can take some practice, but I think what you have so far is the hard part, which is just getting to that point of realizing, like, hey, must be a dream. This is off. Um, but that's cool. And sometimes, you can still go with the narrative of the dream, even just like observing it without controlling or changing it. So you can still retain that level of just flow with it. But do you have like a dream plan of like what do you want to do if you're able to stay in the dream? Like let's say you
hmm.
have that moment and then you don't wake up. Like what do you want to do?
I don't have a specific plan, but that's actually really interesting. I kind of want to work on that. I definitely want to fly because I've had a few dreams where I kind of flew, like that one I was talking about, but I don't fly often in my dreams. So I think that's something, that a lot of people want to do, but I'm not sure what else. I'm going to definitely make a list.
Yeah, it's good to have some things, like, in the back of your mind. Flying is so fun, it's a classic. There's, like, different ways people do it, but if you have, like, 1 or 2 things that like, are your next attempts of what you're gonna do, it kind of
Okay.
helps prepare your brain to be like, "Okay, I'm lucid, I have a plan, so I'm gonna stay in the dream," you're preparing yourself
Hmm.
for staying in there.
I
And
think
I don't
that's a
know.
great idea.
Yeah, exactly, and some people just kind of get excited and wake up, so I don't know if it's an element of that, but kind of working on just staying calm and, like, looking around in the dream before you're like, "Oh my god, I'm freaking out because 'cause I'm in a dream?"
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'll definitely try that. I think that could definitely help where it's like I'm getting ready to do something in that. So, how long have you been lucid dreaming for?
A long time, like, over 20 years, because I started lucid dreaming
Wow.
when I was a kid, and I'm 30 now, so
Wow,
I
that's
say that.
amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So I've had a long time to practice and now, it's kind of my thing to teach people and help people do more with their lucid dreams and explore further. So yeah, it's cool.
That's amazing. Yeah, I definitely want to get more into that. The only other thing that, well, I've definitely had sleep paralysis, unfortunately, many times, which is never fun. But I also did have a experience where it was like what I've read is similar to astral projection, like kind of going into that phase. And that was a really unique experience. But I don't think I fully went there again because I think I was scared.
Yeah, I think we definitely put up our own walls and, beliefs and fears. A lot of people they get scared and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm leaving my body," and then they come back, kind of similar thing. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, it kind of overlaps, what you call these liminal phases of sleep where you're in sleep paralysis or half awake, half asleep, astral projection. Like the terms kind of vary, but it's important to just explore for yourself and like see what happens.
Yeah, I think so too. And because dreams have been like such a big part of my creativity, like I want to kind of delve in deeper as I can. I definitely do keep a dream journal. Most recently, I do it I have a note in my phone because that way, if I wake up right away, I can, type it down. But I do like traditional journals too.
Yeah, I do the same. I usually use my phone for convenience, but, sometimes I'll use a paper if I'm, like, in a different situation. Um, are your dreams usually like, do you ever paint and make art in your dreams, or is it more so you see these cool scenes and then you decide to paint them?
I don't think I've ever painted in my dream before, which is really interesting. I just see really cool things and that will stand out to me, and that's kind of what I'll paint. Like recently, I did a painting called A New Perspective, and it's like this whale in the sky. And I saw that in my dream, and it was so beautiful. And I changed it a bit for my art, just because, as an artist, there's certain things you want to do. Um, but yeah, I think it's mostly like that for me, like kind of just translating what I see into artwork.
I love that. How does it feel to like honor the dream and like give it something physical? Does it like change anything about how you interpret or feel about the dream when you like give it that representation?
It's really a positive feeling, I think, because dreams, are so like you can't really grasp them, and they can disappear so easily. I think it's like it does feel like I'm honoring the dream to actually get it like in a physical thing, and I'm really trying to get people to think more about dreams. And we dream so much of our life. I'm like, it has to be extremely important. I don't think science really knows quite yet how important they are, but I'm trying to get more people to think about their dreams and different realities through my work.
You mentioned earlier that like your family is also vivid dreamers. What was that like growing up with people that kind of talked about dreams and, didn't make you feel like you were crazy?
I mean, it was that part was really awesome because my mom just was always a vivid dreamer and always talking about like kind of like prophetic dreams, which I have some as well, and that would kind of predict things that are going to happen. And she was just always very interested in it, and she didn't kind of delve into it as deeply as I have, but having that kind of supportive environment, I think, is kind of what pushed me to continue to explore it. And my oldest brother also loves dreams, and he did a project as well on dream research when he was younger. So it's definitely something in the family. How about you?
Yeah.
Does your family also have it, or are you like the only one?
So I'm kind of the one that brought everybody to get interested and start paying attention to their dreams. Like my
That's
mom's not
cool.
much of a dreamer, she has like insomnia, so I've been helping her dream better. But I did find out through that process of like being the dreamy weirdo of the family that my dad is also a lucid dreamer and my brother. So
Oh,
maybe there is a genetic aspect to it somewhere in there. But they're both super lucid. And then my other brother is not. So I don't know. I'm kind of trying to
yeah.
get everybody to dream better.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I think it really helps me, I think, psychologically. They say to work through things, and I think the symbolism, like I love kind of analyzing my dreams afterwards and really trying to figure out like what the symbols mean for me. And I do think it helps me work through problems. So it's also been really helpful in like that kind of more literal sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you have, like, any examples or stories of, like, a time that a dream has helped you figure something out or, solve a problem or something?
I think I have had that. I can't think of like a specific, but I do think I've had that where I've definitely worked through problems. And like I have a lot of those dreams that are like the teeth falling out dreams that are really common and stuff like that. That I think those usually when they happen, they just feel different. And like there's other ones that I have that are kind of seem more like an omen almost. Like I have some about snakes sometimes and also cockroaches. So those are like some of my dreams that are kind of these like negative omens. And I think that's really my brain telling me to pay attention and wake up to some problem in my life. So I think in that way, they've helped me to figure out like, okay, this is a problem I need to take care of. And, going through the symbolism, kind of worked on it that way. Like definitely things with like jobs, relationships, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so how do you approach, like, interpreting your dreams? Because I know it's such a personal thing, do you ever look stuff up or, do you go back in your dream journal?
I do both. I do love researching, so I will kind of look up different, like, from different sources so I can kind of cross check. But I also think about like, what does that symbol mean to me? Like what is my history with that symbol? So it could be something from my childhood or, any age, and that it will just be like, okay, that reminds me of something or a certain time. So I'll usually tie it that way. And also, I think the feeling of the dream is important. I've noticed that certain ways that they feel, like you can get a positive or a negative feeling or something really intense. So yeah, I think you can get like a lot from the mood of the dream too.
Yeah, definitely. The feeling is so important. I tell people that all the time. Like even if I can't remember details of the dream, I'll just write down how I feel when I woke up or whatever's lingering emotionally from the dream. And sometimes that'll give me a glimpse on like what's going on in my brain, even if I don't remember the actual narrative.
Yeah, exactly. I get this thing. I don't know if you ever get this. So lately, when I dream, I forget my dreams sometimes, as I go about my day. But then as soon as I go get ready to go to bed at night, I remember the dream from the previous night. And it's so interesting because I never used to do that, but now it's happening all the time.
That's awesome. I really love when that happens. It's almost like when we start to enter this like more relaxed state, we kind of open up these memories. For me, it's kind of sometimes randomly throughout the day, I'll see something and it'll trigger a dream memory. And I'm like, oh, yeah,
Yeah,
my dream. And I like when that happens because I'm like, the
me
memory's in
too.
there. I just have to unlock it somehow.
Yeah, I know. My dream would be to have like someday like a way we could record our dreams and watch them, It'd just be so amazing.
I know that's the big like goal, but it also brings so many like ethical potential
Yeah,
disasters. But it sounds
right.
cool in theory. I wish I could
In
have a
theory.
personal one.
Exactly. I'm like just a personal one. But yeah, it would be really, really interesting just to be able to watch back everything that happened.
I wish I could
Because
re-experience. For now, all we can do is try to re-enter the same dream.
yeah, exactly. So one question I have for you is do you feel like sensations in your dreams like pain or heat and cold and that kind of thing?
I do. Sometimes it's weird. So I've done this while lucid to kind of experiment where I will literally intentionally try to touch a burning stove or something. And I can feel it. Like I feel everything so vividly. All of my senses are like fully immersed. I can smell,
Yeah.
touch, taste. I'll intentionally really like hone in on those senses when I'm lucid just to really experience them. And I'm always shocked at how realistic they are. The weird thing about pain and like heat is it hurts, but it doesn't hurt. It's really weird. Like it's like this burning sensation, but it almost feels like there's a threshold where, like, before it, like, is an insane
Mhm.
amount of pain, it kind of resets, and it's just like this
Resets.
radiating burn. But some people
Yeah.
say that they feel full on pain, so it really just depends on the dream.
For me, I can experience it. I remember like washing my hands in a dream and I could feel the water and like the warm water. And then one time I had this like really bad pain in my head. It was like horrible in the dream. And I woke up and I figured I'd be in pain or something and it was gone. So that was really weird too.
Yeah, that's cool. I definitely believe that like dreams can help us with like healing powers. And sometimes I'll do something in a dream and I'll wake up with that feeling still radiating on my physical body. Kind of how some people
Yeah.
report they say they were, fighting in their dreams and they wake up with scars and bruises. I always thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. I know when I was little, I guess I used to sleepwalk some and I like also talked in my sleep. So like I think I always had like a lot going on with the dreams, but that I don't think I do that now. At least my husband doesn't say so.
That's good. Yeah, I guess it's more common for kids to sleepwalk. It's still a scary concept because I'm like, that could be so dangerous. What if they just
Dangerous.
walk
Yeah.
outside?
I guess I used to like walk to the up at near the top of the stairs and my mom was like, "Oh my God." But everything was fine. But it was yeah, interesting for sure. Um And then I was going to talk a little bit about some of my art influence because a lot of my influences also have this like love of dreams. My art is called dreamscape surrealist art, is how I classify it. And I think that is a good kind of terminology because I want to create these like dreamy environments. And then surrealist art is a big part of my work as well. And I'm a huge fan of like Salvador Dali's work and a lot of those artists that have that kind of feeling of just like things melting or like things that don't belong, and it feels very dreamlike, like MC Escher with the staircase, and so it's been great to kind of have these influences like from my childhood and like use them in my art going forward as an adult. Like even fantasy, like Alice in Wonderland, has been a big influence for me, and that kind of going down the rabbit hole. definitely feels like dreaming. So I've kind of combined fantasy with surrealism to kind of create my own look.
Yeah, that's awesome. Really cool. And I think, some solid influences for sure. I'm a huge Salvador Dali fan. I'm sure you know how he used to like purposefully take naps and then wake himself up and then immediately like, sketch or paint what he saw. So it's really cool how he literally brings things over this border of consciousness intentionally. So yeah, that's really cool. I love people that use their dreamscapes to create like that, especially if you have the skill to be able to do that. Cause I mean, I've seen some cool things in my dreams, but I could never draw them at all.
Well, you never know. It's all practice. But like seriously, yeah, I agree. Like with Salvador Dali and all of them, I feel like when you're like a surrealist artist, like you're on the same wavelength as others. Like we use a lot of the same symbols and we feel a lot of the same things. And I feel like it's all coming from that dream world. So I find that really fascinating. And I think like you're like part of that world. Like even if you're not creating art or actively creating art, it's kind of like I feel like you would understand that, like, kind of world of different symbols that we're seeing.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're all connected in that way. And we're all creative in so many different ways, and when I'm lucid in my dreams, I have unlimited resources to make art and sculptures, and I do all
Oh,
these cool
wow.
things, and I draw in the sky or whatever. So then
Oh,
I
that's
feel like I have
amazing.
skills. Exactly. So those are some ideas of fun things you can do in your lucid dreams if you're feeling artsy.
Oh, wow, that's so amazing. You should try to, like, you should try to recreate them in life or even with, like, AI or something, see how they
Yeah, I
look, you
do
know?
that sometimes. I'll use AI. Sometimes I'll draw. I'm not very good at it, but I'll sketch for fun and just to give my dream some life.
Yeah, and then I think it helps you remember your dreams better too when you, like, sketch or
Mm.
especially write it down, so I love that. It's really
Yeah,
fun.
definitely. It definitely like locks it into your brain when you do the physical hand to paper kind of thing. Even if I just tell somebody my dream, I already remember it more. Like it's best
Yeah.
early in the morning at least to get something down so you can remember cuz once you get your day started, the dream starts to fade usually.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. Yeah, I've been trying to do it like right as I wake up or even in the middle of the night. Sometimes I'll like wake up and write something down in my phone.
Yeah,
But
that's good, and that's a good time if you do that to kind of think about being lucid because 'cause you're kind of still half sleepy, so you can kind of, set the intention of like, if I go back to sleep, I'll try to remember that I'm in a dream, especially if I don't know if you have nightmares ever, but that's a big lucidity trigger for me because 'cause I'm like, "This is so scary and terrible. I hope that I'm dreaming," and then I become lucid.
oh, that's good. I have them here and there, but luckily not too often, knock on wood, but I have had my share for sure. But that's interesting. So for me too, I think my dreams affect me physically because I do have a lot of chronic fatigue, and I think it's because part of it's because I dream so vividly and so intense. Like sometimes I'll have dreams that are just like flying, like it's like so fast, so many interesting, like intricate things going on. And I love it though. So like I wouldn't trade it, you know. It's like I don't like the waking up tired, but I feel like it's worth it for the experience.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of people have that problem. I get that question a lot. I'm glad that you embrace it and that you love it because that's really good. But a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to dream anymore.
Yeah.
And I do help them through setting the intention for restful sleep because you can still have dreams and feel rested. It just takes practice, I think.
Yeah. I think it for me it depends maybe on how active my mind is that particular day or something.
Yeah,
But
especially with lucid dreaming, a lot of people are worried about that, but sometimes I wake up even more refreshed when I'm lucid because I just feel like I'm relaxing. It's like a little mental
mm,
vacation, even though I'm
that's
consciously
cool.
there. Yeah, so it depends, everybody's different. You gotta explore for yourself and then come on the podcast and let me know how it went.
Yeah, I definitely will. Well, I think that makes sense. Like, if you can control the dream, then it's more relaxing because it's like obviously when you can't, anything can happen. Like, you're kind of at the whim of the dream. So that's interesting to think about in a very positive way.
Yeah, exactly. It really just depends. Everybody I've heard both sides of it. Some people are like, "Oh, I'm exhausted when I control it because I'm doing more mental work
Mm.
and I just wanna go with it so I can just observe." But then that's more emotional because sometimes you're like, the dream is taking you in all these different ways, so it's just, it varies.
Wow, that's so
Yeah,
incredible.
a lot of it also depends on our waking life state, if someone's stressed out a lot and they're anxious, I think their sleep life is gonna reflect that as well, so
Yeah,
there's a lot of factors.
absolutely. Do you think, like, if you take melatonin or something, or those kind of things, like, have they affected your dreams?
Yeah, so melatonin is known in high doses to give people nightmares, like, it's a whole thing of
Mm.
melatonin dreams, and, some people like it, some people don't. I like vivid dreams, but it's more effective in small doses, like 2 to 5 milligrams if you're just using it to sleep better and, get sleepier. So a lot of people don't know that, and they end up regretting having nightmares.
That makes sense. I used it here and there, and I do think my dreams were definitely a bit more vivid, but they're already vivid. So I was just curious, like, what your
Yeah.
experience was.
I've experimented as well with, like, other dream enhancing herbs and supplements and
Mm.
things, and there's so many. I have a YouTube video, like, just going through a
Oh,
bunch of.
I gotta look at that. That sounds
Yeah,
great.
one of my favorites is blue lotus. It's like a tea. Some people
Oh,
smoke it. It's like an ancient Egyptian flower. There's a lot of natural stuff. And then there's the supplement sides, but yeah, it's fun, Even things like vitamin B6, which is a pretty basic over the counter. A lot of people say it increases their dream recall significantly. So I recommend that one to
oh,
people too.
I'm gonna try that. And the Blue Lotus sounds great. So, when you lucid dream, or when you go into a dream, how quickly can you get to like a lucid state these days?
It depends, like, every dream is different. Sometimes I'll have a long, hour-long dream, and I'll just become lucid at the end of it? Sometimes I'll be more intentional with it, and I'll get lucid right away, and then I'll stay lucid for the whole dream. Sometimes I get lucid, and then I go non-lucid, and then I go back and forth. It's such a fluid thing. I would say I get lucid, like, 3 to 5 times a week at this phase in my life, which is
Wow,
way more than most people. Even once
that's
a month is
awesome.
I'm like, "Good for you." Most people
Yeah.
I don't have lucid dreams that often, so
That's amazing. I feel like my brother's gonna wanna talk to you because he's really into lucid dreaming, and I think he's been able to do it more than me. So I'm curious to see, what his experiences have been too. I haven't really talked to him about a lot of the specifics, but it's
yeah,
really
that's cool. I
interesting.
feel like talking to him or, you just telling people about your dream goals is gonna help you really get more lucidity and more recall because our brain is already thinking about, what to do in the dream space. But yeah, I think, you're already pretty much there. You just need to work on that dream stabilization, as they call it, which is like let the dream last longer and get grounded into your dream body so you can, do more in the dream. But you're almost there.
Thank
You
you.
got it.
All right, I am confident I can do it. That's awesome. Thanks for the advice. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're a natural. I mean, anybody who's been vivid dreaming their whole life, like us, you totally got it. It's like going to the gym, you don't get abs after a week, unfortunately.
Right, it was as we wish, but
Yeah, exactly. It's like a lifelong journey, honestly. Some people get lucid after like months of trying, some people after a couple days, some people years, but I always tell people don't get frustrated. All your dreams
yeah.
are cool, like write them all down. Some people get so focused on just being lucid that they lose
Mm.
the plot.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice to give people because it's like it seems it's so it is so cool, I'm sure, to lucid dream, but it's like even the dreams themselves, they're so fascinating. So, do you do a lot of analyzing your dreams as well?
Sometimes, like, the ones that I feel are big and powerful that have, like, a emotional, pull on me, I will, like you said, sometimes look stuff up or share with people to get, like, some perspectives, or ask AI, which sometimes helpful, sometimes not, you kinda have to have a grain of salt with it, but I just gather data on it just to kind of meditate on it a bit or draw or whatever I gotta do to process the dream, but even if I don't analyze, I try not to go overthink it too much, but I do try to record as much detail as I can on my dream journal.
Yeah, me too. That's awesome.
Yeah, I like to look at, like, common symbols, like, over the course of, like, months, for example, like, what am I seeing a lot in terms of people, environments, or objects, and then I kinda use those to think about, like, what that could mean or, like, where my head's at.
Yeah, I agree. And like if I keep having recurring dream, I'm like, okay, I really need to pay attention here because that's been happening a lot to me lately. So I'm like, I think I need to delve into that.
Yeah, and those are good for lucid dreaming because you can train your brain to be like, "Next time I see said recurring thing, I will know it's a dream because I always have that in my dream, and then
Oh,
plan for what you wanna do this time and maybe change the ending or whatever."
Oh, that's a good idea. Wait, I'm gonna write that down so I
Yeah,
don't
that's a
forget.
super good tip that helps a lot. Like,
Yeah.
recurring dreams are kind of like a nice little hack for lucid dreaming.
Okay. And
Yeah.
isn't there also like something about like an object that you can I forget how it works. Like if you have like a certain object in real life and connecting it to dreams somehow. I forget what the story is, but
So it's kind of like a reality check anchor situation. So let's say you have like a cool rock or something. Ideally, something that you'll see in your dream often. So if you have something that you see in a dream, kind of like the Inception little top
yeah. That's
thing.
what I was thinking of.
Yeah. And so what you do is like during the day when you're conscious and awake, you look at this item and you think about it like this is my dream symbol, it represents lucidity. Try to be lucid in that moment, lucid living. Practice like what would I do if I was in a dream right now, really try to get into that mentality and just do this as like a habit throughout the day. Like use it as a reality check. Like, am I dreaming right now? Am I not? Every time I see this
Mm.
thing, every time you have the object in your hand or you see it, you really think about if you're in a dream or not, whatever
Oh,
reality
okay.
trick you wanna make up, and then the idea is that next time you're dreaming, because you get this habit, you'll either see the object in your dream and you'll have that same thought process of like, maybe this is a dream," and then you'll be like, "Oh, it is a
It
dream,"
is.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
so that's
Oh
the
man, I can't wait.
yeah.
Well, that's really, really amazing. So, are you partnering or like looking into more dream research or anything like that?
Yeah, I am. There's a couple different like organizations and researchers that I'm working with just to kind of do independent studies. And then I
That's
also
cool.
am working on getting my PhD. I haven't like um,
Oh,
committed to a program or anything yet, but I do want to do like my own dream research with like just like different organizations. There's not many places in the world that study lucid dreaming, but they are out there. So we'll see.
yeah, that's amazing. Well, I hope that you can lead the way because it seems like you have so much experience in it. And, I was looking for that as well. I was like, I want to partner with someone or learn more about it, or understand why I dream so vividly. So
Yeah.
I think
Well,
it's
there is
fascinating.
one big organization that I'm a part of is the IASD, which is International Association for the Study of Dreams. They're super cool. They do like conferences in the States or online and things like that. So if you or anybody listening, check them out, follow them on Instagram. Their next conference is in Oregon, so I'm gonna be at that one in June.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, definitely check them out then.
Yeah,
That's
and they
great.
always post stuff online of just, like, the latest research studies and, what's going on, so that's your good way to get all the updates.
Awesome.
Yeah. Was there anything else that, you had on your mind or questions or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as my art journey goes, just so listeners kind of know a little more, like previously, I was in design. That's actually what I went to college for. So I went to college at FIT in New York City and studied design. And then I worked in New York as a design director for many years. And I worked at Estee Lauder. So I was their design director for like accessories and packaging. And I mean, I think just having my dreams help with my creativity, like, I think that kind of even could spread into that world where it's, like, a little bit more restrictive. But then once the pandemic hit, I really started focusing on my art more, and I realized how important the dreams were for me, and then I remembered, like, "Oh, I did this in high school," but it's like I forgot almost that I had done like, I was already doing this, So it's been
Mhm.
amazing to kind of rediscover it.
Yeah, connecting with, like, our teenage self or inner child, because 'cause we're still a
Yeah.
child at that age, is really it's such a healing thing, and dreams are so therapeutic in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I recently did an art show in New York. I was at the Clio Art Fair and another one in New York, the Gracie Square Art Show. And I have a couple shows coming up in the city, so people can find that on my website. And I also be posting on my Instagram.
Cool, cool, yeah, what's your website and your Instagram? I'll put the link in the notes, but it's good to say it so in case
Yeah,
people
so you can find my website. It's meganemily.com. And my Instagram is Eliara_studio. But if you just search my name, Megan Emily Ely, it'll come up. That's probably easier. Iliara is a word that I made up from my last name is Ely, and I wanted something that kind of felt like a magical land, and that's really where that came from. So,
Awesome. I love it. Well, I appreciate you coming on and like sharing about your journey with me and really just like having the guts to reach out. It really means a lot to me that like my show is reaching people and people are excited to talk about dreams. It's what I do. It's just normalize telling me talking about dreams.
oh, absolutely. Well, I'm so thankful for you, and I'm glad we met.